Welcome back to our YouTube wrap-up of IFBB Pro Shows. If you like this content, please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you'd like to see more of so that we can provide that for you. We do shoot these live on our Instagram channel at Sean's Couture every Monday night after a pro show. So you can join us, get in, ask questions, all of that. And then once that's done, we edit it together with pictures and video from those shows and put them up here on our YouTube channel. So please make sure you turn on those notifications so you know when these go live, and join us, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you. Welcome back to our daily live feed. As always, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing, all the fun stuff with competing. And then also, Cuties Conquering the Stage registration is open now, and then our ticket launch starts tomorrow. So in order to have access to the actual ticket launch, you need to be on our registration list now. So if you're not, I don't know why, because it's free. Tonight, we are doing a wrap-up. We are doing a wrap-up of Powerhouse, Arizona, and we're going to talk a little bit about how the points played out this weekend, who qualified, who's on the outside looking in for the Olympia and all of that. And then the next show that we will be previewing is going to be the Arnold. That'll be the next one we'll preview, and we'll do that at the end of this week, okay? So first thing is, we're going to go into Powerhouse first. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the top 5 in this show. Now, the reason why I say this and why I'm saying a little bit is because there wasn't a lot of coverage. It was unfortunate because there was no live feeds anywhere. I couldn't find any videos anywhere. And the photos that are up on NPC News Online are really not detailed. You know, like, I can tell these girls were a lot more, like, in the pictures they look soft, and I know that they weren't. You know what I mean? Like, there's a few pictures, like the main picture of like the top 5 girls looks pretty decent as far as the muscularity and things like that is concerned on them, and the leanness and conditioning and stuff. But when you go and you click through their individual pictures, you can't really see all of that. So it's a little bit difficult for me to critique this show, to be honest with you, because there was no coverage, really. I didn't see anybody pose. I didn't see any of the call-outs. I didn't see any of the comparisons, so I don't have a whole lot to go on. Now, if anybody's on this live feed right now that happened to see anything or was there or whatever, if you want to put your 2 cents in, feel free to do that. But again, I just didn't see a whole lot that I was able to critique. So the biggest thing, like what I tried to do, and I'm going to do this now, so if you guys are on NPC News online, is I started going through the comparison shots just to get an idea of what their overall shapes looked like. Just to get an idea of what Laura Lee looked like next to the other girls, those kinds of things. So I think that this show was very fairly judged. First of all, everybody pretty much landed where they should have landed. Let me see. I'm going to pull up one of the comparison shots. Honestly, the one with that stuck out to me in the first call out with the least amount of muscle was Rihanna. Laura Lee is still a little bit big through the glutes, but this is much better. She's much tighter than when she was in Tampa. That's the biggest thing. She's much tighter. But she's still a little bit glute heavy, which I don't know. That actually might play well for her when she gets into the Arnold and stuff, because she is taller than everybody else that she's going to be competing against, so she may need that. And then Lucia, who came in second, Lucia was bigger, in my opinion, when you're looking at this. Now, I was kind of surprised to see her come in second because she hasn't been doing very well this year. She's been too big in her lower half all year. But what I will say from looking at these photos is that she definitely came in tighter. I didn't even have her in my top 5 in this particular show because she's been placing like second call-outs. I didn't realize she had actually won a show at the end of the year last year, so she is Olympia qualified. I just realized that when I was looking at the Olympia points. So she is Olympia qualified, and she's just too big at this point. When you see her next to Laura Lee, she's even bigger than Laura Lee. So she looked really good in person. Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm going based on these comparison shots, and like I said, I can't see a whole lot from these photos, so I could be very wrong on some of my assessments that I'm making right here. But what I'm seeing from her is that she just looks like she's almost like borderline getting to wellness. And the reason why I say that is because it's not that her glutes are overpowering. Like Laura Lee has the issue where she's had to bring her glutes down because they were overpowering. Laura Lee was not borderline wellness. She just had too big of glutes. Lucia, on the other hand, has the legs to match. So if she wanted to, I feel like she could go up to wellness. I feel like she has the ability to do that. I don't think she's there yet, but I think she could, right? The pics did make everyone look soft. They do make everybody look soft. These comparison photos were a mess. The lighting was awful. Everyone on those photos looked big and wide. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, this is really hard for me to judge. And I'm looking at a back shot of the top call out right now. And I know that Rihanna's not, I mean, she's not the biggest girl ever, but she looks relatively small in comparison to the other girls. Like you said, big and wide. Like that's what I'm seeing here. You know what I mean? And I don't think that everybody looks like that. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult for me to say, you know, what they're going to look like once they get, like when Laura Lee goes to Arnold. It's difficult for me to say if this is a look that's too big or not. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell from the photos. You know, because looking at Vanya, this is probably the thickest that Vanya has looked in a while, but I've seen her at the last two shows and she didn't look that thick. You know what I mean? So I think you're right. I think the pictures are kind of skewing it a little bit, and I don't think this is a true perception of what these girls actually looked like. She did say she lose some size with competing. Who said that she lost some size? Say it again. Who was it that you're talking about that said she would lose some size with competing? The one thing I'll say with Lucia is I am not a fan of that hair color. I'm not sure what made her decide to go that direction. She typically has darker black hair. I like a softer, like chocolate brown almost, and I think that would be much better on her. This is like an orangey, like, I don't know, it's not a flattering hair color. I'm hoping maybe she got that feedback and they told her to go back to dark for Olympia, because I think that would be much more flattering on her. She lost some size. Rihanna lost some size. Yes, and I do agree with that. You know, when I looked at her individual photos, I noticed a lack of pop in the glutes in comparison to earlier shows and things like that. But again, I tried to kind of put the comparisons together, and I didn't see the same things in the comparisons that I saw in the individual shots. Lucia told the judges that the darker hair made her look too hardcore. Yes, and I would agree with that. However, this hair color is just not it. Like, she needs to have like a chocolate brown, not like a black. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference. Like, when you go black, that's hard. You know what I mean? That's a hard look. I agree 100%. But there's a balance where she can go just a touch lighter on a chocolate brown or put some highlights in or something like that gives her some softness to it versus this color. This looks like she's trying to, like she's in the in-between stages between black and blonde. That's what she looks like, because I've had that hair color before, because I've gone from brunette to blonde, and that's what my hair looked like in between. It looked orange, you know, like that's just what happens. The lights made her look orange. Yeah, absolutely. I promise I wasn't that big. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, Vanya. Like, when I'm looking at these photos, like I just saw you in a couple of shows and you didn't look like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I think it's just the photography. Somebody needs to shoot out those lights. They were brutal, apparently. Yeah, apparently. You know, and that's why, you know, it's really hard for me. This is why I like to see video. This is why I like to see live feeds. This is why I like to see that kind of stuff, because you can get past whatever problems you have with the lighting when you see people moving. You know what I mean? And I can't see that here. I can't see any of that stuff. And there was no coverage. I literally was texting people like, who plays top 5? Tony, I did that with you. I texted you. I was like, where are the placings? I need to know what the placings are. It looked gorgeous on her in person at check-ins, but I didn't pay attention on stage. Yeah, and I mean, it just, in my opinion, it's just not it. I looked wide on stage, and we all know how small I am. Yeah, I look soft and huge in the pictures. LOL, Tyler gave me the feedback that I was getting a bit too hard. Okay, I have a comparison video at the top. I'll send you. Okay, yeah, send me the comparison video, because I'll take a look at that. And if I have anything to add when I do my edit into the YouTube, I'll take that video that you send me, and I'll kind of do a voiceover on it and add some stuff, because, you know, again, looking at these photos and stuff like that, it is really hard for me to give any kind of critiques to anybody. And even when I'm looking at like the individuals, the photos weren't captured like typical. Like typically when, like if JM's the photographer, he takes 1,000 photos where you see the girl actually in motion through her routine and stuff, so you can see things happening. That wasn't the case here. Like it was hard for me to even find full on posed shots of some of the girls, you know? So it's, again, I don't like to give my 2 cents when I don't have a clear view of what you guys actually looked like. You know what I mean? So let me pull up another picture here. Where am I missing? I always like to go to the comparison shots too, by the way, guys. If you're ever looking at pictures and things like that and you want to get a better idea of, you know, what you look like next to everybody, pick up go get the comparison shots. Everybody looks good when they're by themselves. It's not until they stand next to the other people that you can kind of see why you placed where you placed. You know what I mean? Let's see. Yeah, I'm just looking at the front poses right now. Also, it was so weird to find the center for poses. The judges were sitting so close together in comparison on the dots, numbers on the stage. Oh, really? See, I'm trying to see if they had that. I don't see the judges in any of the photos, so I can't see that aspect of it. But yeah, I thought that was interesting because in the first call out, I did notice that because Maya Gordon was way out, like that you could fit a whole other competitor in between her and Lucia, so they should have moved her in. So those look like that was a little bit difficult to figure out too. Yeah, I mean, overall, like, you know, again, I think this is an improved look for Laura Lee, I think, based on the photos. But again, I don't have a whole lot of anything to go on here. I think from the photos that, you know, Rihanna does look like she needs to fill out a little bit more in her glutes again. Like her waistline needs to come in a little tighter. And again, from the photos, Vanya, your legs look a little bit thick, but I just saw you, you know, a couple weeks ago and you didn't look like that. So I can't imagine that that's the case. That's why I'm saying, I'm like, I think this is what it looks like, but I don't really know. Lucia looks like she needs a little help with her posing. She's bent over a little in her front pose. I'd like to see her stand up a little taller and relax that shoulder. And I did see a couple of videos. Her bling on her suit was too light and it made it really like almost look like a white suit. In the pictures, it doesn't look like that, but on the few videos that I saw, she looked like she almost had a white suit on. So guys, be careful about the crystal colors that you put on your suit. It looked like to me, she had a purple suit with really light purple stones on it. And on the stage, that came off really, really light underneath the lights. Once the lights hit the suit, that's when you see that really, that brightness like that. So, you know, whenever I'm making suits and things like that, I always think about that with the stoning. If they're going to be a lighter colored stone, that's usually an accent stone. It's not the main color of stone on the suit because you can end up looking like a disco ball. And again, you don't see that here on the pictures, but I did see it in the videos that I was looking at. So the suit looked very light. Yeah, you know, and here's the thing, like, when Lucia came out on the scene last year, her first show that she did, she wore this red suit. She had dark hair. She was just a little bit too lean, but I thought it was a stunning look. That was in my opinion, that was her best look that she ever put on stage. And I'd never seen her before, and I was like, wow, who's that girl? She's hot. You know what I mean? That was the first thing I said when I saw her. And ever since then, she's been playing with all these different looks and colors and stuff. And I think she went to a blue, and that was probably based on feedback. I mean, she probably got feedback something along the line that she was too hard or something like that. So she tried to soften it up with the blue. And the blue worked well for her. She won 2 shows with the blue. She was a little bit softer. She won the NorCal, and then she won a Texas show right after the Olympia as well, which is what qualified her for the Olympia this year. So my thought process is always like, when you're winning shows, don't go try to reinvent the wheel. You know what I mean? I would go back to that look. They liked that look. You know, go back to that look, right? Love your hair. Thank you. I just updated my own hair. I just put some every 4 weeks or so I put the dye back in, kind of thing. So this is a really bright pink. My birthday's coming up. I gotta be like hot pink for my birthday, right? But anyway, so I would just like to see those presentation details kind of tweak on her. You know, hopefully they gave her some good feedback. And so this is the hard part about taking feedback sometimes, because sometimes you take it to the extreme too. Like somebody mentioned on here that they told her hair was too dark and it made her look too hard. So that I can absolutely see that. I can absolutely see that being a thing. But that doesn't mean you have to go to blonde. You know what I mean? That just means to lighten that black up. So instead of doing black, do a chocolate brown, or do, you know, some highlights in there or something like that. Give it a soft ombre or something that just softens it up a little. That doesn't mean you have to go completely the opposite direction, right? Make little teeny tiny incremental changes. Don't reinvent the wheel. When you're this close, you know, she's really close here. She took second here. When you're this close to the top, making big changes is a mistake. Make tiny changes. Teeny tiny little changes, and that'll make the difference between, you know, going up a couple spots or completely dropping out. Now with that said, like I said, I think that this played out pretty well. I think based on what I'm seeing, based on the comparisons that I'm seeing, I think the placements were right on. And just hopefully next year they'll kind of up their game in the coverage aspect of it, so we can actually see what's going on. You know, this is something that girls have been bringing up to me a lot. They ask me before they choose a show what kind of coverage is going to be there, who's going to be the photographer, are they going to have live feeds, are they going to do this kind of coverage, are they going to do that kind of coverage. That's stuff that people want now. Now that it's happening, show promoters, if you hear this at all, now that there are shows out there doing this kind of coverage, girls are making their choices on which shows they want to go into because of that. Right? They want to go to a show that like their family at home can watch, you know, those kinds of things. Stuff that they've got video from that they can take and they can use to better assess their physique and critique themselves and see what they can do going forward. You know, all those things matter when you're a competitor. That coverage matters. Coverage absolutely matters. Pretty awesome. Tyler met us all backstage and gave specific feedback, looked at poses, suggestions, which is awesome. Yeah, he's been doing that at a lot of shows. Sandy has done that for a long time, and I've been noticing Tyler's gotten on the bandwagon of doing that as well. Ever since last year, he kind of runs backstage just like Sandy does, and will give you his 2 cents, will give you his feedback. So, you know, again, what I was just talking about with the coverage aspect of these shows, that is something that girls are looking at as well. Like specifically if girls are looking to like advance in the sport, if they want to go to nationals or something like that, or they want to, you know, they want to progress in the pro league or whatever it may be, they're going to go to a show where they know the judges are going to stick around and talk to them. You know, and a lot of the judges do that now. And it really puts things into perspective. It really helps you get out of an emotional headspace and hear what the judges have to say to you to make things better. You know what I mean? Like, it's really easy to get into an emotional headspace at these shows. Very easy when you think that things should go a certain way and they don't. You know what I mean? So I always encourage you to stick around to the end of the show and go talk to the judges. Because they can give you really objective feedback and gives you something to work on right away. And it helps you to just kind of put that pin in it and be like, okay, I'm not going to get all crazy in the head about this. I'm going to find out what I have to do better, you know? With that, I wanted to say congratulations to Angela, who I believe is still on here right now. She did win the Masters portion of this show, so that's another Masters win for her. So congratulations to Angela as well. And then Iulia made her pro debut. I believe she placed 8th. So she did very well as well. Really, really great season for her. You know, going from a month ago being an amateur and now she's had her pro debut. So that's really awesome. We love to see that kind of bam, bam, bam kind of progress in a season. You know, she really planned her season very, very well, and that showed big time. That's congratulations to Angela. Yes, facts. You have definitely been on the receiving end of my emotional rants. Yes, I sure have. I absolutely have. Thank you. You're welcome, Angela. Yeah, that's the thing, Devin. So, like, you know, Devin's a great example. I'll give her feedback after a show when I've seen videos and stuff like that. I won't give her feedback if all I've seen is pictures, because I need to see video in order to be able to give some kind of feedback. But then she goes talk to the judges, and when the judges can clarify and can kind of put a stamp on it as well, you know, that helps you to put you into a better mind space so that you have something so that you can attack going forward, you know, and you feel like, okay, now I have something I can plan from. Because that like 24 to 48 hours after a show is when your head goes fucking nuts. That's when your head goes nuts. It's like the 24 to 48 hours after the show where you want to just say screw it all and like eat everything in the world and all those kinds of things when you don't place the way that you want to place. And something as simple as going and talking to the judges and finding out what their feedback was can save you from all of that. So I think that is a very good reason to choose a show, is to go into a show where judges will give you feedback right then and there on the spot. Just mentally as a competitor, that's very helpful. So anyway, I wanted to go through that with Powerhouse. Like I said, I wish I had a little bit more coverage that I could go through with you guys, but it is what it is when it comes to that stuff. Overall, I think that the placings were correct. They were where they should be, all of those things. So got nothing to complain about in that regard. We just want to see more coverage of the show. Okay. And that will do it on our coverage for the Powerhouse Pro. Up next, as our YouTube release, will be our review of the Arizona Pro. So keep a lookout for that, and you'll want to subscribe, comment, like, and turn on notifications so you know exactly when that's going to come up for you. We'll see you then.